Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. RHOP Karen Huger shocked watching her DUI Bodycam footage. Former RHOP star Karen Huger was just sentenced for her DUI arrest, but she did have to watch the Bodycam footage at some point. When she finally did see the behavior she exuded, Huger was shocked at what transpired. So, what exactly did she say and when was it shown to her? Keep reading for more details. Although Karen Huger was arrested in March 2024, she just had her sentencing for her DUI arrest. When she was arrested, she asked the officers if they knew who she was. They did not, and then she continued on with her Grande Dame speech and other additions regarding Thomas Jefferson. At the time, she claimed she had one beer before leaving a friend's home. Yet more alcohol was discovered in the car, and this was not her first offense. That was something the judge took into account when sentencing her. She received 2 years in prison with 1 year suspended and cannot drive for a year after her release. Additionally, she announced that she was exiting the RHOP and would not return next season. This came before her sentence was handed down, but it seems she did not want to be held accountable. Possibly she knew that she would be incarcerated, so she wanted to decide for herself. Either way, she did not appear at the Season 9 reunion as she claimed she was seeking help. However, Andy Cohen promised she would be there in some capacity. As promised, during the Sunday, March 2nd airing of the reunion, Karen Huger and her husband, Ray, were shown. According to page 6, they were speaking about her arrest as she had just been found guilty. She admitted she had yet to see the disturbing Bodycam footage from the night of her arrest before her trial. More so, she did not want to see it, but when she did, she was shocked by her behavior. "I'm sitting there in the courtroom like I have to finally watch it because I kept saying, well, surely they made a mistake, right? Because everything's not connecting for me. And I watched, and I'm telling you, I didn't recognize that woman. I didn't know her." Despite Karen Huger knowing what the footage held, seeing it happen before her eyes was a huge wake-up call. She admitted that this was all her fault and she had no one to blame but herself. "It's my fault. What happened to me was self-inflicted. I drove. I had that accident. I put people in danger." Regardless of whether she took accountability or not, she still drove under the influence and caused a wreck. Karen stated she was headed to rehab to deal with this, but she stayed less than a month at a wellness facility. While in front of the judge, she had this to say: "I understand better the brutal clarity of the fact that when you're behind a car driving, you're not just driving for yourself. It's my responsibility to make sure that my community members make it where they need to be safely." After RHOP fans saw this small segment, what were their thoughts? Let's stop with trying to force sympathy for a habitual drunk driver who spent 2 days in rehab. She's clearly lying and trying to do damage control. This is her 4th DUI. "I don't drink and drive, but I've had 4 DUIs. Some also felt it was awkwardly staged, but Karen has seen the footage. She seems to know she did wrong, and now will face her punishment. What did you think of that scene, and do you feel she has genuine remorse? Let us know in the comments below. Karen Huger shocked watching her DUI Bodycam footage on RHOP. The Real Housewives of Potomac, RHOP, has long been known for its dramatic moments, high society feuds, and unexpected revelations. Yet nothing could have prepared the viewers for the jaw-dropping moment when Karen Huger, the Grande Dame herself, was confronted with Bodycam footage from a DUI arrest. The scene that unfolded on the latest episode left fans stunned, and Karen's reaction was nothing short of unforgettable. It all began with the customary RHOP flair, luxurious outfits, witty comebacks, and extravagant dinners, until the plot took a dark turn. Karen Huger, known for her poised, elegant persona and self-proclaimed wisdom, was suddenly faced with a reality she had long tried to distance herself from. The moment was caught on camera when Karen was shown watching the footage of her own DUI arrest, and the emotional fallout reverberated through the episode like an unexpected storm. For those unfamiliar with the circumstances leading to the footage, Karen had been involved in an incident that made headlines outside the show. A car was pulled over in the middle of the night, and to everyone's surprise, the driver was none other than Karen Huger. In the months leading up to the episode, rumors swirled about a run-in with the law, but Karen had avoided the topic, only subtly alluding to a mysterious event. As always, she prided herself on maintaining an air. Cameras were not about to let her hide behind the mask for much longer. The episode began with a typical lighthearted dinner scene. The women of Potomac were gathered in a chic, upscale restaurant, sipping cocktails and gossiping. Then, as Karen took her seat at the head of the table, producers surprised her with an unexpected twist: a video playback of the infamous DUI Bodycam footage. The air in the room shifted from a playful buzz to an anxious silence. The entire group of women, their faces lit by the glow of the screen, watched as Karen's eyes widened in disbelief. Her gaze fixed on the footage, and it was clear she was unprepared for what was about to unfold. Karen, who usually exuded an aura of control, was suddenly vulnerable. Her usually flawless facade crumbled as she watched herself from the perspective of the Bodycam. "I can't believe this is happening," Karen muttered, almost to herself, as the footage rolled on. The camera was a grainy blur, but the situation was unmistakable. A uniformed officer stepped toward the vehicle with the typical greeting, asking the driver to step out of the car. The officer's voice was calm, but there was an underlying tension, something that resonated through the screen. Karen appeared slightly unsteady, her demeanor suggesting that the effects of the alcohol were still clouding her judgment. She appeared shocked, as though she hadn't fully realized the severity of her actions. It wasn't long before the officer administered a field sobriety test, and Karen's responses were slower than usual. The scene left the RHOP cast members visibly uncomfortable, but no one more so than Karen herself. As the footage progressed, it became evident that the woman on screen was far from the poised and controlled image that fans had come to expect. Her words slurred, her movements unsteady, and the interaction with the officer, though polite, revealed a sense of confusion. Karen's breathing, captured in crisp detail by the Bodycam, revealed the weight of the situation. This was not just a minor incident. This was real. The next moment was one that fans would not soon forget. Karen, in the video, was asked to submit to a breathalyzer test. She hesitated, and viewers could feel the tension rising. The seconds stretched on as the officer repeated the request, and Karen reluctantly agreed. The breathalyzer test result wasn't shown on screen, but it didn't need to be. The unease in the room, the reactions from the other housewives, said it all. As the footage ended, Karen turned her gaze away from the screen, clearly trying to compose herself. "This isn't me," she whispered, her voice cracking. The tension in the room was palpable. The other women, always eager to offer commentary, found themselves strangely silent. They knew better than to pounce on Karen's vulnerability in this moment, but the shock was evident on their faces as well. A few exchanged knowing glances, while others seemed unsure of how to react. "Karen, I didn't know," Wendy Osefo said, her voice soft, but filled with sympathy. "I've never seen you like this." Giselle Bryant, never one to shy away from speaking her mind, was uncharacteristically quiet. The usual playful barbs and sharp retorts were nowhere to be found. Instead, there was a solemn respect for Karen's raw emotion, and perhaps a touch of concern. Even Ashley Darby, who was never one to hold back, seemed unsure of how to proceed. For once, the typically outspoken women of Potomac were speechless, a rare moment of quiet solidarity in the face of Karen's vulnerability. The rest of the episode saw Karen attempting to process the impact of the footage on her life. There were no grandiose speeches or defensiveness. Instead, Karen took a step back, reflecting on her actions in a way that felt incredibly raw and real. For the first time, the audience saw Karen Huger not as the grande dame who ruled Potomac, but as a woman facing the consequences of a decision that threatened to upend everything she had built. The emotional toll of the moment was evident when Karen met with her husband, Ray Huger, later in the episode. They sat in their elegant living room, the soft glow of the fireplace casting shadows on their faces. Karen's eyes were filled with a mixture of regret and disbelief. Ray, ever the calm and steady presence, held her hand, offering her the support she needed in the face of public scrutiny. "You don't need to be perfect, Karen," he said quietly. "We all make mistakes." That moment, perhaps more than any other, was the turning point of the episode. It wasn't the drama fans were used to. No screaming matches, no accusations, but instead, a moment of introspection. Karen Huger had always been the woman who had it all together, but the footage revealed that even the Grande Dame was susceptible to life's missteps.